Well, it's an opportunity for us to remember that this community and this country flew astronauts to the moon. And that was a special time for us because we were young, we were inexperienced with manned space flight, especially going to another planet, and we really believed we could do it. And I think that's probably the one thing that we talk more and more about, that we were confident that this community and these people that worked in this community in Huntsville, Alabama, knew how to launch a crew to the moon and back. And we wanted to do it, and we wanted to do it several times, and we ended up doing many flights to the moon, most of which that we survived were the guys that landed successfully and came back. So Huntsville became very, very famous as the place that took Americans to the moon and back. And we're very proud of that event. We're celebrating it this week, and we want to remember we got to keep that dream alive of spaceflight for the younger generation. I think the fact that we were ground testing the Redstone rocket in Huntsville, Alabama the very first time. I had never experienced a rocket close up, and I was standing just a few feet away from the Redstone engine, and I saw that, and I realized that we in Huntsville, Alabama were rocket people, and I wasn't really sure what we were going to do with those rockets at that time. Turns out that we began to plan for manned flights into space. So then the big Saturn V moon rocket came on, and that was an amazing machine. The first time we saw that machine ground tested in Huntsville, Alabama. It was fired up that day, 7.5 million pounds of thrust, 5 rocket engines firing toward Decatur, and the engines were being moved, and you could feel the temperature come out, and you look over at your buddy, and he's got his face all pulled back, hair blowing, because the Saturn V moon rocket was going full blast. So we had an opportunity to see those engines tested first, and then ground tested several times before we shipped it to the Cape to be launched, and they were successful. Every time we flew the Saturn V with astronauts on board, they worked, and they took those astronauts to the moon and back. So we're very proud of the fact that we were the contributor of manned space flight for American astronauts during that time frame. I think one of the things we don't often remember is all the young people that came to Huntsville, Alabama, and some of them had never been here before, to work with the rocket team, Warner Von Braun. And so we had several thousand rocket people, very young, came here, learned about how to build rockets, how to test fire them, and so forth. So they were special people that contributed to us, and many of them stayed here and made a career out of working with companies and space programs and so forth. So we're very proud of the fact that we attracted young people from all over the nation to participate in manned spaceflight.